Welcome back to the Global Business Report on the Rise News. Can technology bring Nigeria's informal retail sector online? A number of players in the B2B, that's business-to-business space, are trying their hand at that task. They see an opportunity to use online platforms to digitize the operations of small players in the informal retail space and therefore make them more efficient and profitable. We've got one of those players in here with us, Adewale Opaleye. He's the founder and CEO of Alerzo, which is a B2B E-commerce retail firm. You're very welcome. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, as far as the challenges that the players in the space are facing, as far as the hurdles that the informal retailers are facing, can you speak to that? I know you have a personal story. Your mom, right? Yeah. So go ahead, tell us about that.
So thank you very much for having me. It's pretty excited. I'm very excited to be here. So regarding the Nigerian retailers, they face quite a lot of challenges. First of all, they have to shut their store to go down to the central market. Second is they mostly go with cash because Nigeria, is a cash-based economy.
There you go.
Exactly. So and that makes them target for criminals, right? At the end of the day, go with a couple of thousands, they find that missing in their purse. And then on top of that, they have to negotiate prices with all the partners in the market. There is a distributor that sells some categories of products like beverage. Others focus on some selected categories, so they have to walk around everyone's store, negotiate those prices. And then at the end of the day, hire a taxi driver that brings the product back to their store. And on top of that, you need to understand that their store is shut. So
they can't sell anything while they're out there negotiating.
Exactly.
Right.
So those are the challenges that these retailers are facing. And they're the backbone of the economy. Everyone is mostly connected to these retailers one way or the other. And it's really important that this problem is solved.
So yeah, tell what about your story? You said your mom, this is what got you into this? Or?
Yes, so I'm raised by a single mother with 4 kids. Mom started a store before we were born. And then, fortunately, after we lost our father, we have to depend on my mom's store.
Yeah.
So, and for me, it's more of seeing her going through all these hustles and going through this day after day. It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
And after studying locally and also with my experience while studying in China, it was pretty evident that this problem has to be solved.
Yeah.
And I think we came back home just to sort of for holiday, and then turns out to be the longest holiday for me, and started a company to solve the problem.
How about that? It's a classic tech story in solving issues. So as far as what you're doing in this space, how do these online platforms like yours bridge this gap for these retailers?
Well, that's a very good question. So the way we started off in the company is we went 1P. So we own all our entire infrastructure. We have long-term leases on our warehouses. We own our product. And that's actually very important because you don't solve a problem by being a third party in the space. Right? So it's important you go through the entire processes and entire processes, and then on top of that, you can start bringing in third party.
Yeah.
So we started off by building an online central market for these retailers. So they have access to over 260 products that they naturally would have to walk around the store to get. And then on top of that, we also built a 1P logistics system. So we own a lot of our vehicles. And that's very important as well, because if you understand these retailers very well, they don't have that much capital to wait for one 24 hours for the product. So they mostly will want the product immediately because they need to sell it off and then make some margins out of it to feed their family.
Yep.
Right? So we built all those infrastructures. We also launched our bookkeeping software that allows these retailers manage their inventory. And also on top of that, we built a financial tool, which is a POS terminal that allows our retailers to accept digital payment.
Yeah.
So right now, an Alerzo retailer can manage their transactions and businesses on our bookkeeping software, which is called VDES. They can actually accept digital payment from our devices called Alerzo Pay, and then on top of that, they can order for products they need from our Alerzo shop platform.
Gosh.
So all-in-one software for retailers to build a group.
What about the cost involved in that? Is there pretty much a high cost and a longer period of time it takes to build this entire ecosystem for yourself?
The first thing we're thinking of is to set the standard.
Yeah.
So right now in this space, we're the only company that delivers within 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of retailers get product under 4 hours, depending on when you order for product.
Yeah.
And then we think if we're able to set a standard for ourselves, we can bring in key players on the logistics side, on the financial side, to sort of work on the infrastructure we've built to expand that business. So right now we've built our own logistics routing software that can allow our drivers to sort of like walk around retail stores, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's super easy now for us to work with other logistics companies that can bring in their vehicles onto our own platform and sort of leverage on our infrastructure to sort of like grow their business as well. So first of all, it's important to build the infrastructure yourself, understand it more, and then bring in other key players to expand.
You've given them the tips. If anyone's listening and watching, I hope they're noting it down. Build your infrastructure. How big is e-commerce in Nigeria?
So, we think it's pretty big. Even before we talk about the e-commerce, commerce already exists. So everyone is already doing buying and selling.
Yeah.
But what's important is there are a couple of like limiting factors in that space. But right now, e-commerce, we think it's about a $12 billion business. That's what it's projected. And it's forecasted to actually eat $75 billion by 2025. Wow. But we think there is a very big room to grow.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty interesting because like average age is 18.
Yeah. So it's young, lots of youth in there. Wow. Okay, but what about, can it thrive when there are, and this is why you've built your own infrastructure, but the logistics challenges, internet connectivity, what about those hurdles to its growth?
Oh, well, so telcos have done a very good job. Our business is headquartered in Ibadan, where it's like not Lagos and.
Well, that's rare.
Exactly.
That's rare.
Exactly.
Okay.
So for us, it's about key things you need. It's mobile phone, internet. Telcos are doing a very good job. Right now, smartphones are becoming more accessible to people, so it's actually very cheap.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, what we need in this space is actually building out the trust.
Yeah.
So if I want to give you money to bring something for me, I need to trust you to bring it. And that comes from being able to keep people's mind at rest that you get the product you want, and also as quick as you want. Yeah. And one thing about Nigerians is we want instant gratification. So people want things pretty quick. Short term. Exactly.
Even in investments, make money now.
So that's the most important thing is once all those problems are solved, the internet is actually doing pretty well, and there's access to smartphones, so people, it's like a very big opportunity in this space.
I want to ask you about whether government is prioritizing. We had a bodybuilder on the show yesterday, and I asked him how come bodybuilding is so big. A Nigerian bodybuilder, he's overseas, but why it was so big in the Middle East. And he said it's because the government in the Middle East, I think he goes to Dubai or UAE, they've prioritized that they want bodybuilding to get bigger in the United Arab Emirates, pretty much around that area. Is government prioritizing e-commerce, let me not limit it to Nigeria, on the African continent based on your observations? What do you think?
Well, so like I said earlier, there are key factors to make e-commerce grow, which is first one is smartphones, right? Internet, right? And then on top of that, people need to trust the platform, right? So no one wants, it's people's money, right? No one wants to give their money to people they don't trust.
Right.
And you've seen it on all these Instagram sellers that run away with people's money, or what you ordered versus what you get.
Right.
So it's like a whole lot of like key things in this space. Right. But we think once all those are solved, the only thing I think we need from government is to provide an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Like Nigeria's economy is actually largely driven by private sector. Right. So entrepreneurs should keep building, and government should just create an enabling environment for us to scale our business.
Great stuff. You're under 30, right? You're one of the very young CEO. How is that? How are you finding things as far as working? I mean, you've been based here, yes, in Nigeria. Okay, so cool. How's that? What's that like for you? Maybe you'll be on the next cover of Forbes 30 under 30. Who knows? But what's that like?
That's a very good question. I get that a lot of times.
You do, okay.
So, but what's important is I have a very supportive team. So my team are like largely experienced all over the world. And they're very, very supportive. I think first of all, I'm like really, really on board and excited about what we've done in the company. And I think, with a supportive team and also with my own over 11 years experience. So I started my first business when I was 16.
How about that?
And, when I was in China, I built an e-commerce company that allows Nigerian businessmen to buy stuff from China.
Okay.
So, with those experiences and also my tech experience, because I did mobile games for a couple of years, I think I've sort of like gone through a lot of learnings in life, and with a very supportive team, they also keep, they're like my backbone in the company. And we think we're like the right company in this space to solve this problem.
Very quickly, any expansion plans, or what's the?
So we're still largely Nigeria focused. Right now we operate in about 13 states, and plan is to double that before the end of the year, hopefully, if we could. And but we're very, very excited about the country. We think it's a very exciting market for us, and we are happy with the solutions we provide in the retailers in this space.
Great stuff. So e-commerce, you're bullish, you're positive on e-commerce in Nigeria. Hey, look, Adewale Opaleye, founder, CEO, Alerzo, B2B E-commerce retail firm. Thank you for the insights and best of luck. Huh? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. All right.